Hello all, welcome back to the CD3 Automation Toolkit Learning Series. In this video, we will learn how to set up and execute the toolkit using Jenkins to export resources from OCI. For this setup, the tenancy config properties file should be filled with required tenancy config details and Jenkins configuration values. Please refer to the previous videos to fill in the required details and execute the create tenancy config script. I have already filled in my details and executed the script. Let me show it quickly. This is my toolkit container. Navigate to CD3 user, OCI tools, CD3 automation toolkit, user scripts folder. Here you can see the tenancy config properties file. Let me open it. So here I have filled in the required parameters for authentication. And then I also provided the details for my Jenkins configuration under the advanced parameters for DevOps section. I have already executed the create tenancy config script. We'll quickly open the output file that got generated. That is under the tenancies, and CD3 demo is the prefix name I gave in the config file. So you can find the output file here. Let me just show it to you. So these are the details of the OCI bucket and DevOps repository that got provisioned in OCI for Jenkins setup. And these are the next steps for using the toolkit via Jenkins, and this is for CLI. We are using Jenkins for this demo. So let me start my Jenkins using this command. You can see that Jenkins is fully up and running now. So to access Jenkins, this is the URL. You can find this under the next steps for using toolkit via Jenkins. You have to replace this with the IP address of the machine hosting your Docker container. Let me provide this URL in my browser and access Jenkins. This is my Jenkins console. If you're logging in for the first time, you have to provide the login credentials. After logging in, under dashboard, you will see a folder with the prefix name that we provided when creating tenancy config. Click on this one. Here you can see the setup OCI pipeline and a folder for Terraform files. This contains the Terraform pipelines for all the services in respective regions. The setup OCI pipeline is equivalent to executing setup OCI script from CLI. For an export workflow, the script fetches resource data from OCI and populates it in the input Excel template. Then it generates TF-words from the Excel. It also generates shell scripts with resource import commands. I'll click on the setup OCI pipeline and then build with parameters. So here you are provided with few options to build the setup OCI pipeline. First is the Excel template. During export workflow, the toolkit overwrites any data that is present in the input Excel file. So it is recommended to use the blank Excel template. So let us download the blank template. This is the CD3 GitHub page. If you scroll down, you can see a quick link for the Excel templates. Click on this. If you scroll down, you can find the CD3 blank template. Click on this and then download. Now let us come back to Jenkins and upload the CD3 blank template here. If you leave this empty, previously uploaded file will be used. And please remember that any data within the Excel sheet will be overwritten during the export process. Next is the workflow. Using CD3, you can either create new resources in OCI or export existing resources from OCI. So for this demo, I'll select export existing resources from OCI. Based on the workflow you selected, you are provided with few options here. You can select which resources you want to export. I want to export network and compute. And based on these selections, you will be provided with a few sub options as well. I'm planning to export all network components. And under compute, I'm going to export instances. If you scroll down, you can see additional filters which are optional. You can select the region from where these resources have to be exported. I'll select Phoenix. Then you can also select compartments from where these resources have to be exported. I've selected the compartment as well. Here you also have extra filters for compute to export compute instances which match only this particular display name pattern or instances from a particular availability domain. I'm leaving those empty and I'll click on build. So the setup OCI pipeline is triggered now and its different stages are getting executed. We'll talk about each of the stages now. The first stage will validate the input file name, size, and the selected options. And the next one updates the CD3 Excel file name, that is the CD3 blank template, and the workflow type, that is export workflow, in the setup OCI properties file. Usually in CLI, we enter these details manually inside the properties file. Then we have the execute setup OCI stage. So this stage overrides the specific tabs of Excel sheet with the exported resource details from OCI. Once the export is completed, I'll show you where to find the Excel template. And this stage also generates the Terraform configuration files, that is the auto.tfvars. And then it also generates shell scripts with import commands for all the resources. So the next stage is run import commands. This stage executes the shell scripts with import commands generated in the previous stage. This will take a couple of minutes. You can click on logs here to see the shell scripts getting executed. Then the TFVars files are committed to our Oracle DevOps Git repo develop branch, and then the respective Terraform pipelines are triggered. So here you can see the network VLAN and RPC pipelines are triggered for the Phoenix region. These are automatically triggered. You can also trigger these manually when required. Let us click on the logs for the network stage. This is the apply pipeline for the network service under Phoenix region. So the apply pipeline also goes through a few stages where it checks out the Terraform files from the OCI DevOps Git repository and then generates a plan from the files. Let us click on the logs here. Here, if you see no changes in plan, our export is successful. So this means the run import command stage in setup OCI pipeline was executed successfully and there are no changes in the plan. Similarly, you can check for other resources as well. Now you have the OCI resource details both in Excel template and also in Terraform. Now let us see where to get the updated Excel sheet from. Go back to the setup OCI pipeline. Click on the build number here. And then under build artifacts, you can see the Excel template. If you click on it, it will be downloaded. Let me show it to you. This is the Excel sheet with filled in data. Let us go to the VCNs tab. This has the VCN details exported from Phoenix region under the CD3 compartment. Then under DHCP, you can see the details. These are the subnets that got exported. And these are the route rules, security rules. Then we have instance. So all the details for these instances got populated in this sheet. So now if you want to create new compute instance on top of this or any other resources, you just have to add a new line under this with the required details for that instance. It's that easy. Let us also check out the TFVars files that got generated in the OCI DevOps Git repository. This is the OCI console. Go to developer services. Under DevOps, you can see projects. Click on it. This is the project that got created when we were executing tenancy config properties. Click on this one. If you scroll down, you can see the repository. Click on it. Under the repository, you can see different folders for each of the subscribed regions. Since we exported our resources from Phoenix, I'll click on Phoenix. Under Phoenix, you can see separate folders for each service. This is because we have selected for multiple out directory structure when creating the tenancy config. I'll click on the network folder. Here you can see all the auto.tfvars files that got generated. I'll just click on one to show. This is for subnets. So this is the TFVars files that got generated. The Terraform state is stored in the object storage bucket. Let me quickly show that. Storage buckets. This is the bucket. I'll click on it. So here under objects, you can see a folder for the region Phoenix. If you expand it, you can see two separate folders for compute and network. Here you can see the Terraform TF state for compute and for network. You can manage the Terraform state from this bucket remotely. So this is how easily you can export any number of resources from OCI to Excel template and Terraform using CD3. Thanks for joining me for this demo. Hope you like this. Thank you.